Welcome to the Universal Supportive Housing Application training presented by the Cleveland-Cuyahoga County Office of Homeless Services. While we move toward a more HMIS-centric community, the USHAP will be the next step in ensuring that most of the information housing providers will need for transitioning people experiencing homelessness into housing is all in one place. This training will discuss the various data elements collected on the USHAP, where they come from in the system, and the proper way to complete the application in its entirety. The USHAP has 10 different categories that we will go over in depth: general information, income and sources, assets, non-cash benefits, health insurance, matching factors, education, other important information for care coordination, the USHAP signature clause, and additional forms. Let's start with general information. Starting with the applicant information, there are two sources of information: the USHAP assessment and profile screen. For the rest of the training, think of the USHAP assessment as the application that we are all used to filling out for housing opportunities. The USHAP assessment or application collects the date the USHAP was started, the date the USHAP was completed, the applicant's current living situation, current address, disabling conditions, verified chronicity status. It asks if they require any additional assistance completing the application, and if yes, they'll be asked to specify what they need. What type of housing is being applied for? That would be rapid rehousing, scattered site housing, or site-based buildings. The profile screen of the individual's HMIS record also needs to be accurately recorded. The elements necessary for the USHAP are the head of household's first name, any alias they used to use or go by now, their date of birth, social security number, their age, which is a live marker. That just means that the date of birth is subtracted from the current date to get the age. It's not something that is entered manually. Their race and ethnicity, and their veteran status. If the applicant is a part of a household that will be housed together through this process, it is important to ensure that each member of the household's profile screens of their HMIS records are accurately recorded. I will show that in our demo in just a moment. The same data elements are required for each household member that were required for the head of household: their name, relationship, date of birth, social security, gender, race, ethnicity, veteran status, and age. The only other element that is necessary to record on the USHAP assessment directly is it important is every member of the household a legal citizen? If the answer is no, you'll be required to identify which household member is not and what their citizen status is. It is important to note that this question will not be reported on or shared with any outside entity for security purposes. Next, we need to know about who is referring this applicant for the housing. That will most likely be you. Please ensure that your agency name, your phone number, and your email address are properly recorded on the USHAP assessment. Lastly, the USHAP assessment will ask for the applicant's contact and emergency contact information. That would include their cell phone, the applicant's cell phone number, their email address, if they have a legal guardian or not. If they do, we'll need the guardian's name and their contact information, and their emergency contact information, their phone number, email address, and physical address if applicable. Let's take a look in Clarity now to see where all this information is located. For the purposes of the training, we'll be in Happy Halloween, which is our fake client. If for any reason you want to play around in the system, you can use this client as well. We'll start here. When we search for the person, their profile screen will come up. As mentioned, all of the information on this profile screen needs to be accurately recorded because it's going to be pulled onto the USHAP. So their name, social security, date of birth, alias, gender, race, and veteran status. To get to the USHAP, we'll go to Assessments, and we'll start a new one here on this line: Universal Supportive Housing Application, USHAP. You hit Start, and we start a new application. Before we get into the general information, we have a few notes here at the top that are important to pay attention to. All household members must have complete and accurate information on their profile screens. The USHAP applicants have current contact information within their contact tab, and they have to have a CE enrollment that coincides with their most recent episode of homelessness, because a lot of the demographics, disability, income, and health and insurance information can come from there and be cascaded onto the USHAP instead of you having to enter it. But let's look at the general information. All the questions that we talked about are here. The date started, date completed, what type of housing someone is applying for, if they need additional services to help complete the process, and here's a text box for that if you need it, their applicant's email address, the referent information, the legal guardian. Oh, we also have a payee question. If somebody has a payee, you'll be required to put that in as well. Their emergency contact information, and is every member of the household a legal citizen? If the answer is no, if this is turned off, we'll have that additional question to identify who is not and what their citizen status is. But if you turn it on, that question will go away. As we'll see throughout the rest of the training, there's a lot of questions that are what's called conditional. This means that if they're answered a certain way, we might get additional questions, or we might remove some questions based on what's necessary. Homeless status and chronic status. So we'll have that current living situation. We'll type in their current address and whether or not they're verified chronic. A lot of this will happen prior to the application being completed. Coordinated entry will verify someone's chronicity in order to get the housing opportunity. So that's most likely going to be the answer. Information about the sources of income the applicant has comes next. All of the elements about income will be pulled directly from the USHAP assessment. So for the head of household, the first question will be about earned income. If the person does have earned income, it'll ask about their present employer and the employer's address, when they started working there, and the name of their supervisor. They'll also ask about the amount of income that they get, and we enter that on a month as a monthly number. The system will automatically generate a gross annual earned income based on the monthly income number you enter after that multiplies it by 12. There are other types of income that someone may receive: unemployment compensation, general assistance, SSI, SSDI, retirement income from Social Security, pension or retirement from the former job, child support, VA service-connected disability compensation, non-service connected disability pension, alimony, spousal support, private disability insurance, workers' compensation, TANF, and other income source. Whatever numbers are added in for each of these different options will also be multiplied by 12, because we're entering that as a monthly amount as well, to get the total annual non-employment cash income. To determine if there are out-of-pocket costs to consider when determining rent costs, housing providers will ask for any out-of-pocket medical expense costs and child care costs. If the applicant is part of a household, all individuals in the household who are 18 years or older will need to have their income information recorded as well. The USHAP allows for up to 5 additional adults to be recorded. All of the applicant's information will be all the additional household members' information will come from the USHAP, and the questions are the same as they were for the head of household. Along with income, the applicant must report any assets they may have. For the head of household, the USHAP will ask about money markets, IRAs, CDs, stocks and bonds, real estate, personal property, other assets, checking accounts, and saving accounts, and it'll total the annual asset income based on the numbers you enter in. Additional questions are also asked to determine assets. Does the person have a safe deposit box? Do they have assets held jointly with the person who does not and will not reside with them? Have they received any lump sum payments or gifts in the last 24 hours? And are there any assets disposed of for less than fair market value in the last 24 months? As with income, assets for up to 5 additional adults can be recorded on the USHAP as well. So anybody who's over the age of 18 will need to have their assets listed and the amounts. Non-cash benefits are also recorded on the USHAP. Those include SNAP, WIC, TANF childcare, TANF transportation, other TANF benefit, or other non-cash benefit. If there's an other non-cash benefit that's not listed here, you'll be asked to specify. It's important to note that this is not about the amounts, but whether or not they just have them or not. The applicant's health insurance is next. Similar to what you would see in Clarity enrollments, the applicant's health insurance type must be selected from the options provided. That's Medicaid, Medicare, state health insurance for adults, Indian Health Services, state children's health insurance, Veterans Health Administration, health insurance obtained through COBRA, employer-provided health insurance, private pay health insurance, and other health insurance. A simple yes or no is all that is required. Now let's get back into Clarity and see what all these income, asset, and benefits questions look like. First question is, do they have income from any source? If the answer is no, all those income questions will go away. If the answer is yes, you'll be asked to specify which type. And if you select one or turn it on, in this case, you'll enter the monthly amount they receive. You'll notice down here, after all of these are entered, the system automatically generates the gross annual earned income by taking that number you entered and multiplying it by 12. The same would happen underneath that with all of these other options and their amounts. Is the person receiving non-cash benefits? The answer is yes or no. If it's no, you'll see nothing. If it's yes, you'll be asked to turn on which ones they have. Down here at the bottom, we have out-of-pocket medical expenses and those childcare costs. If you select that the person has earned income, underneath here is where you'll see current employment information. So just want to show you that if I turn this off, those questions disappear, meaning they're not required for this. So we'll turn it back on. If they are employed, you'll put their present employer's name, their address, and their supervisor's name, and when they started that employment. Types of assets is a drop-down multi-select box, so you can select as many as you want. As you do, you'll see that that amount will show up. Another question will show up to put the amount of money that's in that asset. If there are none, please select none. Then you have additional questions about the safe deposit box and any sort of gifts or any assets held jointly or disposed of. So these are simple yes or no's. Additional adult household members here is where we would tell the application if there's anyone else in the household that's older than 18. If the answer is yes, the question becomes how many additional adults are receiving income and how many additional adults have assets. So you select at least up to 5 or none. As you select, let's say we select 2, you'll see the first adult, you'll need to type their full name and then answer the income questions. Second adult, same thing. Same thing with assets. You'll put their name and select the assets, and as you select them, you'll enter their amounts. The last few sections of the USHAP deal with matching factors and other information that may be necessary to determine if the person is linked with the correct opportunity. So let's start with matching factors. All of these questions are asked within the USHAP assessment to determine matching to the correct housing option. Has the participant ever had a PSH lease or received a housing subsidy? If the answer is yes to that question, you'll be prompted to complete a housing success plan. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Has the participant ever been evicted from a previous PHA or PSH unit? Is there a presence of dependent child in the PSH housing? Has the participant ever damaged a dwelling unit by fire? Their marital status? Is the participant a lifetime registrant under the sexual predator status? Has the participant ever been convicted of a felony? Specialized services that are needed? Was there domestic violence in their past? and their preferred PSH location or building. Next, education questions are asked to determine if someone is eligible through some education exemptions. So the questions about education on the USHAP are, is the person a full-time student? Will they attend school for 5 months or more in 1 year? Are they a disabled student? If they are, did they receive Section 8 as of 11/30 of 2005? Is the participant 23 years of age or older? Is the participant receiving any financial assistance to pay for education? Is the participant living with their parents? If so, are the parents eligible to get Section 8? Is the participant claimed on the parent's tax return? And for anyone in the household age 5 to 18, are they full-time students? If they are not, we'll be asked to explain. Lastly, there are just a few questions left to assist with care coordination. The applicant may need some additional assistance or care, and these questions are designed to help determine their needs. Do they have the ability to turn on the utilities in their name? Do they owe money to a utility company? Are they currently linked to a mental health provider? If they are, we'll be asked to provide the mental health provider agency name and the contact information. So back to Clarity to see what this looks like. First question under matching factors is the marital status. You have a few options to choose from. Felony, conviction, presence of dependent children, dwelling ever damaged by fire, sexual predator status. Have they ever had a PSH lease, as mentioned? If the answer is yes, you'll be asked to complete a housing success plan, which is available on the OHS website. And have they ever been evicted from a previous PSH or PHA unit? We mentioned disabling condition in the general information, but we put that under here in a different section. But if you answer yes to this, that's all what is needed. We just need to know that they have a disabling condition. But under that is the survivor of domestic violence. If the answer is yes, you'll go ahead and put that there. If not, it'll be no. And then there's a multi-select box for any specialized services that the person may need while living in their housing. Oh, health insurance is a little out of order, but we mentioned that in the previous section. You'll just turn on any of those that are true. Education, is the person a full-time student? If yes, you'll get a few other questions that we already talked about. And you'll see as you enter more information, you'll get all the questions eventually that we discussed. If the household has children 5 to 18, are they full-time students? If the answer is no, you'll be asked to explain why they are not in school. But if the answer is yes, you'll be good to go. And then, of course, we ask these additional care coordination questions. The only one that will ask additional questions is the mental health provider, which you'll then have to put the name and the phone number of that place. The last part of the USHAP is to collect the applicant's signature. So the head of household signature or the applicant, if a single household, will be recorded on the top line on every application. If someone else is co-signing with the applicant, the signature must be collected as well. But we'll hop back into Clarity and I will show you how to do that. Here is the signature clause. And right here is the signature line. So what we will do is have the person directly on the application sign their name. If they don't like it, you reset it, okay, and have them sign it, and then hit apply. It'll save. You can reset and redo that at any point in time, and you put the date that they signed it. For the co-head of household signature, if there isn't one, you still have to put NA as the signature and apply it. But of course, if there is one, you can have them sign it and apply it and also put the date they signed it. Once all this application is completed, you would hit save. Now, what's important to note is that you'll see the application is designed to not let you move forward or save without certain questions being answered. If you save, it'll hop up to the questions that need to be answered. So you'll need to be prepared to complete complete the application in its entirety before you get into it. There will be no saving of the application unless you have all information directly entered and correctly. The last part of the application, the USHAP is just one piece of the application. There's a few other forms that will need to be filled out, and they're present in HMIS to fill them out. While each of these can be completed in the system, you also have the option to attach a signed paper version to the form in HMIS. This is not an extensive list. What you see in front of you and what you need for each different type of housing opportunity can be found on the checklists available on the Office of Homeless Services website. So we'll get back into clarity to show you where those forms are and how to fill them out. At the top of the screen, under Files, we'll come into, there's two sections. There's Client Files and Client Forms. Anything related to the housing application should be put under Client Forms. The only exception to that would be any identifying documents like the ID, birth certificate, social security card. But all other documents should be uploaded under the Client Forms. So based on the checklist that I said is available on our website, you'll choose and make sure that all of the forms that are necessary are completed in HMIS. So for let's say we want to do a complaint grievance appeal procedure form. We'll go ahead and click it and hit add. That you'll make sure that you review this form with the applicant, have them sign, hit apply. The date is already automatically going to be entered, and then you'll save. If for some reason you have a form that you have in paper form that the person signed directly with you. You also have the option to choose that form and then hit upload a scanned version of the form and hit add. Instead of it coming up as the whole form, you can then select a file from your computer that you probably scanned in and you can save it that way. That completes our training on the USHAP and everything in its entirety. There's another training available on the website that will show you how to pull the report and what it looks like in its completed form. Thank you for attending, and we look forward to speaking with you soon.